maybe the most fun Cell TV ever. You'll get to see me with this, with this, with this, and the rest is a secret. Let's just say I got a little tipsy on the show. But no, this show is about the best olive oil in the world. And I believe the biggest game changer, which I'm asked all the time, what is the, if finances are an issue and I want to make a huge change in my health of myself and my family, what is it? You better watch this show, because really, this is it. It goes beyond olive oil, trust me, into, I believe it is the greatest game changer y'all can make in your health. So stay tuned for a really fun and exciting show. I learned so much. I had so much fun. So I'll see you on the show.
Everyone, welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm Ashley Smith, and today we have a really fun episode. We are joined by TJ Robinson, who is one of the world's most respected authorities on all matters olive oil. And he's going to walk Dr. Pompa through a special tasting today to help you learn the difference between artisan olive oil and mass-produced olive oil. There is not only a huge difference in taste, but also in your health. TJ will share why his adventures have landed him the nickname, the Olive Oil Hunter. I cannot wait to hear why. I'm excited to get my taste buds educated. So let's get started and welcome TJ Robinson and Dr. Pompa to the show. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. So happy to be here. It's a real pleasure. Thank you, guys. It's an honor.
Well, I fell in love with you and your olive oil at the Mindshare seminar.
Yes.
And I've just been a consumer ever since. Italian is my blood, and I just absolutely olive oil. I put it on everything, right? It's just like a little bit of here or there, and I grew up that way.
Love it.
I've become a connoisseur of really good olive oil, meaning I know when it has really good polyphenols, which you're going to explain.
Excellent.
More about that is.
Excellent.
And I get all the health benefits of it. So I seek out the best oils. I have to say this right up front. You provided me with the best olive oils I ever tasted.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's so kind.
I honestly mean that. And there's a reason for that. So just give our viewers a little background of how the heck you became the olive oil hunter, what that means, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, I was living and working in New York City a little over a decade ago, and working as a food, wine, and travel writer. And I had the opportunity to visit Sicily. And when I visited Sicily, it was right at harvest time. And, I'm just a Southern boy. I don't live in Northern California where there are olive trees. We only produce about 5% of what we consume in the US, which means we're forced to import about 95%. So anyway, I was never, of course, I love fresh apple cider and great fresh tomatoes and peach juice and that sort of stuff, but I had no idea what fresh olive oil tasted like. So anyway, I'm there. I hang out with this family, this very sweet Sicilian family. The guy's name was Matteo, and he invited me to his family's harvest party. And I had never been to an olive harvest party and didn't know what this culture was all about, this type of olive culture. And anyway, that evening we visited the mill. We harvested olives all day, and we took them to the local mill. And I stood there in front of the centrifuge where I had a small tasting cup, similar to this, and I plopped it under.
I'm ready, man.
Yeah, I love it. You're prepared. But I stuck that cup under there, and I put it under my nose, and my life was changed. It was just immediately changed. Like I had never smelled an oil of this quality or freshness in my life. And I was like, I feel like as an American, I've really been duped here. Like I really feel like being a chef, my background is a chef and a pastry chef and culinarian. And I really thought that I understood the quality markers in olive oil. And even as a professional, I had no idea. So anyway, that for me started this mission of educating. And I brought bottles back for my friends and family and my New York chef friends, and they were like obsessed with it. And what happened was after this harvest happened in November and everyone got their oil in December and folks loved it. But the problem was, like, about March came and everyone was running out of oil, and they're like, "Hey, TJ, I want some more of that fresh oil." I'm like, dude, you got to wait. Like,
Yeah.
it's the harvest doesn't happen again in the Mediterranean. It's a one time a year thing. And
Yeah.
it's happening, next fall. So anyway, I like, early days of the internet, start to do some research, and I find out that immigrants had taken cuttings of olive trees and hidden them in their ties and actually sewn them in their clothing, like in the seams of their pants. They had hidden olive tree cuttings. So when they arrived in Chile and Argentina and Australia, they were actually able to plant olive trees, which reminded them of their home in the Mediterranean. And of course, they used them for religious ceremony and all those sort of important rituals that they were accustomed to. So anyway, I discovered that I could get fresh oil from the Southern Hemisphere and the Northern Hemisphere, which allowed me to invent the Fresh Pressed Olive Oil Club. So now we source from the Southern Hemisphere, which is opposite of the Mediterranean, also twice a year. So 4 times a year, I deliver fresh pressed oil delivered by jet directly from the harvest.
Yeah, so that's the point, is that the only way to get fresh harvest, I should say.
Yes.
You can get fresh pressed, right?
Yes,
but,
yes.
I mean, but it is fresh harvest.
Exactly.
Yeah, is to do it from different hemispheres. I mean,
That's
literally
right.
from different parts of the world.
That's right.
But I guess the challenge then was, and by the way, the fresh harvested olive oil is your healthiest, and you'll explain all that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, so the bottom line is you can't duplicate that unless you're getting it, and it was impossible otherwise.
That's right.
So most of the oil that we're consuming is in fact fresh pressed, fresh harvest.
Right around the time that I really started digging into this, UC Davis, again, it's about a decade ago. UC Davis did some testing. They took olive oil samples. They went to 3 places in California, I believe. They pulled samples from grocery store shelves and sent them off to a lab. And the lab, when you're certifying something as extra virgin, it goes through 2 different tests. One is a lab panel test. So you have a team of professional tasters who certify it to be organoleptic, that's nose, palate, of having no defects and being of the quality standard of extra virgin. So that's one. And then 2 is chemical analysis, where they look at the actual healthfulness of the fruit that went into making that oil and the quality of the oil now. So anyway, they took these samples, they shipped them off to Australia to an independent lab, and they discovered that almost 70% of them were not extra virgin at all.
Wow.
Even though they were labeled as such. So that was like, whoa, the slippery business of olive oil really started to get out there.
Well,
and like we were the dumping ground, for bad olive oil.
Yeah, and that's actually in the last few years, it's geared up even more.
Yeah.
Where most olive oil is being cut that's coming in, even from Italy. They blame the mafia, who knows? But
Right.
But anyways, the point is it's being cut. I mean, if you go to any grocery store, you're hard pressed not to find an extra virgin olive oil, meaning they're all
That's
extra
right.
virgin olive oil. But
Right.
I would argue that it's even higher than 70% that's in fact not.
Well, it's really hard to say. They're trying to do a better job. Honestly, they are. They've gone from mostly clear bottles to darker bottles. It's still plastic, but at least it's dark. Light damages olive oil. Time damages olive oil, and heat also damage olive oil. So, they've made strides, but when you look at the back of a bottle from the supermarket and there's like 8 different countries of origin, honestly, how much control do you think that they had in that product? It's not single estate. It's not single varietal. It's not flown in by jet. It's not hand procured and sent directly to your door. Where the polyphenols, because they drop in the first 6 months by about 50%.
Wow.
So there's not really a chance, honestly. And olive trees, they actually produce higher quantities every other year. So one year it'll be low production, the next year high production, next year low, etc. And this is especially true when there's no irrigation involved. Well, what this means for the consumer is they actually hold the oil from the larger production years because they know next year what they need to sell. So they hold that oil for a year, and then, you know, and the labeling on the bottle is actually based on when it's bottled, not the actual harvest date. So it's just honestly a bit of a nightmare for a consumer.
Well, you're out there ahead of us, finding the best oils that aren't cutting the corners.
That's right.
Not cutting their product. And
That's
most
right.
importantly, it actually really is a fresh harvested product. So
that's right.
we're getting the polyphenols. Okay, and we've got a lot of goals here. I can't wait. I'm like, my mouth's salivating. So as I'm looking down at my oils, I love it. I have little apple here, and I have my cups already. But let's talk about, I said that there's obviously a taste benefit when you taste real oil.
That's right.
Fresh harvest oil in particular, you go, holy cow. I don't even know if I've had anything like this before. But talk about the health benefits. Why are we after these things called polyphenols at high levels? Sure.
So, you know, you're more medical than I am. I'm more chef, but I can tell you that many of the experts I work with work in the gut biome. They say olive oil is incredible. Dr. Sarah Ballantyne says it's incredible for your gut. Brain health, it's like the ultimate in brain health. And of course, fight things like dementia and Alzheimer's and all that sort of thing. Of course, cholesterol, heart health, that's important. But when you have high polyphenol oils, what's really cool is a scientist who was visiting Sicily, again, another Sicilian epiphany by this guy. He was visiting Sicily and tasted fresh oil for the first time. And he was actually a scientist who studied ibuprofen. And he discovered the sensation in his throat was very similar to ibuprofen. It was like akin to ibuprofen he was testing in the lab. Well, anyway, he went home, he took the fresh oil, he started to do some research, and he discovered that in fresh olive oil, you have the same compound, nature's version of ibuprofen. So you get all those antioxidant and cooling for like arthritis and any type of inflammation. It's like Mother Nature's miracle tree, really. It's just, you know, it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, you know, and exactly. So, and you're going to teach us how you know when an oil has high polyphenols or not.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know. So our viewers are going to know.
Yes.
And you can provide, obviously, let's get people in your olive oil club. So let's do that now. And I think as you go through this, you'll have even more of a reason.
Sure.
Well,
I'm really excited that you mentioned that. You know, to me, the epiphany is the proof's in the pudding. I'm a chef. I like people to taste the oil. So what I do, everyone who comes into my club comes in with a $1 offer. That $1 buys them the bottle's free. It's just $1 to help me offset shipping. And that bottle goes direct to their homes and lets them evaluate the oil for themselves. I invite them to take their bottle out of the cabinet, grab your espresso cup or, you know, shot glass like we're doing, and do a side-by-side tasting and see for yourself. That's like the number one thing you can do is get educated. Yeah. So that's part of our corporate mission. We work with small family farmers. They're all on board with this because they know that people who try the oil are just converts and can never go back to putting rancid, old, mediocre, low yield. We can talk a little bit more about that olive oil in their system. It's just so anyway. Do you want to run through a tasting, or you want to talk a little bit about the three oils?
Well, let's do that. But let's start with okay. We have 3 oils now from the club. These oils are not from Italy because the harvest hasn't happened in Italy. It's about ready to happen now.
That's right.
But these are from Australia because I'm assuming that was where the last harvest was.
That's right. That's right. So I the club members receive these in September. There's a mild, medium, and bold. So these oils are, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take, for you guys that are just listening and not watching video, I have about a 3-ounce white solo cup. You can use an espresso cup or a glass shot glass. And I'm putting in about a tablespoon, I would say approximately a tablespoon of oil, like just so you can see that. Yep, perfect. So we're not going to we're going to do a sensory analysis before we taste the oil. We're going to do a smell test.
Hold on, I want them to, I'm going to show them.
Yeah, I want to see that. Look at that color. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. And I already smell it. Like it's already coming.
Yeah, I know. I smell it.
I know. It's like coming out of the glass.
I want them to see that color.
That's insane.
The color is part of the magic. I mean, just so you know.
Yes. Well,
I hope you saw that. Can you see the?
Yeah, I can. It's beautiful. Thank you. And the color, it's not a true test. That color is the be all end all, because in competitions, professional tasters actually taste out of blue glasses because they want to take that out of the equation because it's not necessarily a quality marker. But what some producers, let's say the bulk ones, have realized they could add chlorophyll to low quality olive oil, and consumers think, ooh, this is good. But this is, obviously not what's happening here. But what's happening here is we harvest the fruit at a very early stage. So the yield, so the olive itself is, once it's pressed, for my quality standards, has about 10% oil yield. So 10%, so 90% goes away as pit and paste and water. Just the oil is about 10%.
So it sounds like a bad business model already.
Well, it is. You got to pay. Exactly. If you have a mortgage, you leave the same green fruit on the tree for an extra month or so, maybe 2 months, maybe 3, depending on where you are, and you can get up to 30% of the oil. The oil will be totally different from the health perspective. Your polyphenols are going to be minuscule. The quality flavor markers, health markers, all will be cut. So it is, like American consumers who want these super low prices on olive oil and don't want to pay for high quality stuff. That's just what they've done. They've just said, okay, we can supply that market. Let's just leave the olives on the tree 3 months. In fact, we don't even have to pay to harvest them. Let's just let them fall to the ground. We don't have to harvest them. And then, let's run them through the mill and get 30% yield, and then, ship them off to, the US or China or wherever else. So yeah, it's one of those situations. So, all right. So I'm actually going to pour all 3 oils, guys. The mild, the medium, and the bold.
Right, I got to keep mine in order then. So
yeah.
So here is the, and I'll just share because you shared with me. The mild has 204.
Yes.
Polyphenol level.
That's right.
Level, and you can tell us how that's measured. This one has 493. Holy cow, that's a big difference from mild to
Yes.
And then the last one it's even higher. I wrote it down, 551 on that one.
Yes.
Okay, so the color looks about the same. Maybe a little greener, but
the chitin is a little greener.
Okay, so
but that
smells more like fresh cut grass, I would say.
Yes. So what we're going to do is first we're going to go through and do a smell test. So let's start.
Way ahead of you. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So the first one we want to do is Leandro, since this is mild. We're just going to do a smell test first.
Ooh.
And for me, I get things like green tomato leaf. I get banana, like green banana and apple. Like it's fresh, it's green.
Should I do like I do wine? You kind of give it a little.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to hold this cup up here. So what I do, I put my hand under the cup, and that warms the oil. And when you warm the oil, that is what brings out all the aroma. So it's just like when you're putting on warm food, it comes alive. But yeah, lots of like green tomato, some lime zest. It's just a really beautiful, like it feels like you're in a garden, right? It feels like you're in a garden. So that's what the first one smells like. Let's smell number 2, which is AU Life. You Life is a wonderful oil, and it's totally different.
Yeah, totally.
It's got like a lot of almond and baby lettuce, romaine, and arugula. It's that's a beautiful oil.
Yeah,
And
I
then
smell you mentioned like lettuces. I smell the lettuces like smell.
yeah, it's like fresh chopped salad or something
Yeah.
in that one. Of course, it's got like basil and thyme and all that on the nose. And then the last one, let's smell the last one. You can smell it's a little more intense. You can almost smell the polyphenols in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had tuned it to freshly cut grass.
Yes, wheatgrass. Yes, that's right.
Wheatgrass.
That's
Yeah,
right.
wheatgrass is actually what I'm smelling.
No, it's perfect. So now we can actually go back and do the tasting. So, and I'll explain what we're looking for as we're going through. So when I take an oil in my cup, I first warm it and smell it. So that's step one, which we've already done, but we can do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Step two is we take about a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, and we put in our mouth.
Okay, you said tomato on the first. I'm sorry.
Tomato leaf.
I smell that now, right?
Tomato vine, right?
I went back to it. I went back to it. Now I smell that completely. Yeah.
It does change when you go back, which is great. That's one reason I just kind of set my nose. It's like kind of like, I don't know.
You got all over me.
Yeah, you're gonna have glowy skin. All right. So now I'm chewing on about half a teaspoon, and I'm actually going to drag some air through it like I would wine, but I don't know if you want to do that. I am a professional, so be careful. I don't want you to get to coughing on here too much. That'll be later when we get to the other oils. So what you're going to notice from the very green fruit is the bitterness in the fruit. That's the second thing we're looking for in the olive oil as a quality marker. One is fruitiness, which we've assessed. It's green, it's grassy, it's got green tomato, lettuce, really nice. And then the second thing we're looking for is bitterness. We want astringency, a little astringency, like a green tea or a walnut skin. And the reason we're looking for that's a quality marker that the olives were green. And then the third thing we're looking for is a little pinch in the back of the throat of spiciness. And this spiciness that you're perceiving, sometimes you feel it like a little white pepper on the tongue or Szechuan peppercorn, depending on, how much is in there. But those are the three markers you're looking for. And then you also want it to be harmonic in the end and balanced, so that the fruitiness, the bitterness, and the spiciness are all in harmony. It's kind of like composing music. This is actually a blend of two olive varieties. In Italy, there are almost 600 varieties of olives in Italy alone. Like, that to me is incredible. As a chef, I look at fresh olive oil as a sauce that Mother Nature made just for me. So what I do, I blend the oil to my taste as if I were making a sauce. So in this one, it's made of Picual olive oil, which is originally from Spain, and also Koroneiki, which is originally from Greece. So the two together, I think, just give you, and it lingers, like it's beautiful, just harmony and grassy. Any particular things you're noting, Dr. Pompa?
Yeah, so it lingers. I know, no doubt about it. It stays with you, right? So let me ask you a question. This milder oil, what would your cooking suggestions be? Straight on salad? Would you use it in any preparations versus the higher phenol oils that we're about to go to?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, I don't only label them mild, medium, and bold just because it's their profile. I also kind of label them that way so you know what to pair them with. So in this case, it would be milder foods. Like I think this would be great with zucchini and squash and butternut squash and sweet potatoes and pumpkins and like fall. There's something about this oil to me that's very reminiscent of fall.
I agree with that. Now, but here's the thing. In your olive oil club, people are like, oh, dude, how am I going to remember that? I'm not going to know that. I'm just not a chef, right? Me, even myself, I'm the health guy. You point things out and I go, oh yeah, I see that, but my palate's not it took me years to get a wine palate, right? It's
Right.
olive
It
oil.
is.
I've never, I just go good olive oil. Right?
Yeah,
I know
good olive oil.
I know okay, and I know trash.
That's
Okay,
right.
that's
That's right.
my palate.
That's right. Yeah, I love it. I love it. No,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, in general, lighter foods, lighter oils. I love this one for baking. I think this would be great in banana bread if you made like a homemade, using a nut flour. This would be amazing in a banana bread. So I would definitely consider that. Olive oil is fantastic for baking. It has incredible flavor. If you in the Mediterranean, I'm sure you've had olive oil cakes and pastries
Yeah.
and that sort of thing, and they're just really good. And speaking of coughing, just to set this up as we move on to 2 and 3, I have to tell you a story about a Tuscan family I was hanging out with, and I was at their mill and tasting the fresh oil, and they warned me. They said, TJ, be careful of this oil. I'm like, okay, I'm professional. I can handle it. Anyway, they're like, and this was early in my career of olive oil. They said, now us Tuscans, we will say, is it a 1 cough oil, a 2 cough oil, or a 3 cough oil? And I'm like, oh, that's great. I love it. And that's their quality marker, right? When we talk about spicy. So fruity, bitter, spicy. Those are the 3 markers we're looking for.
So I almost did cough with this one. And
you did? You prepared.
I probably gave it a
all right. Well,
if I wasn't on air, but I okay, it off and it went away.
Okay, good. You're a tough guy. You're a tough guy. I like. Well, be ready with your mute button, so we don't all have to suffer through.
So
but
let me ask you something before we move on. Just on that subject of does your club, I got a nice newsletter with my club membership, and I was just going to say, in there you make recommendations, right?
I do. Absolutely. You get the full story. You see me with the families. This is a cool photo. I don't know if you guys can see that very well or not, but it's me hanging out with Lisa at Long Ridge Olives, and she rescues baby kangaroos that have been abandoned by their moms because they've been hurt in car accidents and etc. So anyway, she rescues and holds on her olive farm a few kangaroos every year that she hosts, and she bottle feeds them back to life. I just have a lot of fun. Like I get to work with the most talented people in the world. It's really, really special. There's a guide in Italy called Flo Sole, and they rank the top 500 producers in the world. And it's just really comprehensive. And anybody who wants to be a top dog in the olive oil world, they send their oil to Flo Sole. Well, every year they have a competition called the Flo Sole Top 20. And these are the folks who are in the guidebook, have the highest scores in the world. They go to Rome. It's like winning the Oscars. Wow. It's a big deal. Well, anyway, I was at Paleo FX and I noticed on the table, I got to mentioning because they were like, how do you find your oils and your producers? I'm like, well, I get to work with the best in the world. And as an example, on this table from my March selection and my June selection, out of the producers, the 6 producers that were on the table, 5 of them were Flo Sole top 20 winners. So these are not only the best of the best, but then flown in by jet and directly to your house, loved and curated from me. So I'm quite confident in you being pleased if you have an appreciation for good olive oil.
I have been. I mean, and again, I've been all around Europe. I tasted the best oils. I go to, some food's my thing, man. I go to the best restaurants that have the best oils. Yeah. Matter of fact, if they have a cut olive oil and they cook with canola oil, they have to accommodate me or I'm out. So
yes, it's funny. Usually, even in restaurants, we take a bottle of oil with us. Like we sneak it in my wife's purse, because we want to combat, if we do have to eat in a restaurant, we want to combat the bad oils that we're consuming. So a little olive oil, we have a small little glass, dark glass bottle, and we decant it in there, or I take a full bottle if it's a group of friends.
You know what? Actually, so that's an interesting thing, because my wife and I are very particular. I won't eat vegetable oil or canola oil because studies show it goes into your cell membranes for 132 days on average, because the omega-6 is actually the challenge it's the key part of integrating into the key parts of the cell membrane. And people think omega-3, omega-3. It's actually the omega-6. And when you're taking in these vegetable oils and canola oils, they're rancid 6. They go in and they replace the good omega-6. And now you have a dysfunctioning cell membrane for 132 days. So that's why I don't give in. I'd rather eat sugar or white bread than I would bad oil. It's true.
Yes. Yeah. No, I totally, that's really smart. You know,
So
I was
taking
in
good
Italy.
oil is a good idea.
Absolutely. And it really can be the backbone of your healthy cooking, right? Like, and in a restaurant, what we do, every restaurant has lemons, right? If you get lemons and limes, you know, all day long in 99.9% of restaurants. So we take our bottle of olive oil in my wife's purse, and we ask for lemons and limes on a plate, and you know, to go with our water, and they're on our salad right there. You know, it's quite simple. We've got our olive oil, we've got our acid, we're ready to go. Like, you basically have a great salad dressing, and you don't have to consume all the junk oils and preservatives.
I wonder if the high polyphenol would offset some of that dysfunction if you do consume some products with canola oil in them. If you can offset it with the high polyphenol oil, because that would be uptaken into the membrane much faster and better and protect the membrane from the bad oil. I don't have a study on that, but I'm thinking.
I think that's a great theory, and I would love to see some research on that. In fact, they talk about when you cook vegetables in olive oil, you actually get more nutrients when you consume the vegetables with olive oil, if it's on a salad, etc., if it's high quality olive oil, because it just helps with bioavailability of the vitamins and nutrients in the vegetables. So it actually, you know, talking about that backbone of healthy cooking, it's really one of those things. And I should say, for people that aren't able to taste this with us right now, that I like to think of store-bought olive oil as dried herbs, like dried herbs, like that have been in the shelf for a while. They're kind of old dried herbs, you know, when you pull that one out of your, and this is fresh herbs. So if you don't like fresh herbs, then this is probably not for you, because this has got a lot of antioxidants, a lot of polyphenols, and a lot of flavor. So, you know, that's, I think, a good way to explain. So number 2, let's go on to AU Life. AU Life is a beautiful oil. It's my medium selection. I'll read you. I don't know how we're doing on time or how much time we have, but
we want to get every bit out of this.
Okay. So for this oil, I'll give you my organoleptic description in the pressing report that my members get. So the aroma of fresh cut grass, and again, we're doing the AU Life, the medium. The aroma of fresh cut grass is evident in this marriage of 2 coratinas. So it's one olive variety pressed in 2 different ways, followed by chopped culinary herbs, green pear, green peppercorn, arugula, lime zest, kiwi, and celery leaf. We sense a minty freshness and the subtlety of artichoke and green almonds. In other words, this oil is a green dream. The verdant theme continues on the tongue with walnuts, endive, fennel, arugula, green apple, artichoke, dandelion greens, and fresh thyme. Well balanced, exhibiting both fruitiness and bitterness, with a spicy kick of Szechuan peppercorn on the prolonged finish.
Well, that's a mouthful, but
that's a mouthful.
My assessment is, I actually do taste the sweet notes of it.
Awesome.
Although I do taste the stronger, you know, polyphenol level for sure.
Arugula,
more in the back of my throat. I feel it, you know, sharpening down. I feel it tight.
Definitely arugula, watercress, lime zest. I'm gonna cough. It's definitely a 1 cough oil, and I could probably cough more. It was
2 coughs.
But yeah, but look at that lingering. Like, you can taste the olive fruit. You can taste that bitterness. You can taste that spiciness. You just feel it's alive, and you just feel it in your cells. I mean, it's really the fat makeup of olive oil is the same as human breast milk. So our bodies are like dialed in to bring it on board, and it's just, it really.
Now, in between bites, you told me to have some apple. So
yes,
here I am.
yes, please
I'm
do,
doing
please
some
do.
apple in between, like a wine pairing.
Yes.
I actually went and got cheese like a wine pairing, but you said the professionals use apple, so I quickly ran and got an apple.
You're a pro. I love it. I love it. Yeah, when you're testing a lot of oils in a row and trying to make this, bitterness starts to build up. You get bitter buildup. So the apple kind of cuts through that, and really, helps a lot. Now, a lot of people think olive oil ages like wine. It's the complete opposite.
Opposite, yeah.
The minute it's pressed, it starts to deteriorate. So when you think about cooking with olive oil, or you think about how long an olive oil will last, if you start with an olive oil that's higher in polyphenols and antioxidants, literally antioxidant, think antioxidize, it keeps the oil fresh longer, even if you're heating it. So my morning eggs, my wife is an amazing home chef, and that comes from me, who's a classically trained chef. She's really a great home chef. I'm very spoiled and very lucky. Megan's amazing. But anyway, she fries my morning eggs. I love fried eggs for breakfast, and she fries my morning eggs in olive oil. Now, she does it at a medium low heat.
Yeah, she does.
So exactly. But the oil itself actually tastes really green, really vibrant, really fresh on my plate after the fact. Because, we're kind of heavy users in this household. There's no, just a little bit in the pan. And one of the tips is, put the pan on the stove and get the pan hot, then add your oil, then add your food, in that order. Because you don't want your fat sitting in a pan getting rancid. That's no matter what kind of oil you're using. Heat your pan first.
Right.
Then add
your oil. If it smokes, you blew it. Start again.
Exactly. And honestly, it's easier to go up in heat a lot of times than it is in down. So depending on what you're putting in the pan. So I'm going to grab a little water before we move on to chitin.
Okay.
And that the one we just tasted, I think could go with almost anything. Like I'm thinking of fall soups, like vegetable soups. Like I would pour this on that. I would definitely like this on, if I had some late season baby tomatoes with some mozzarella.
No matter what I'm cooking, I almost always use olive oil. And then I like to garnish my olive oil, especially with the stronger phenols. I like to add it on top of whatever I do.
Yes,
I want
it's the sauce.
It's like adding like a pepper to the end. I mean, it's
exactly. Yeah. And you just feel it when you use oils like this.
That's my hang up with my wife and I've walked out of Italian restaurants because they're using an oil that's cut. You know how we find out, by the way?
How?
We say, we're allergic to we're allergic to canola oil or vegetable oil. And they come out and go, our olive oil actually has some vegetable oil in it. Bingo, I'm out. Because
that's great. I'm going to use that line. I love it. Can I steal it?
Yeah,
I love it.
So the good oils a good olive oil brings out flavor of other foods.
Yes.
Chef. But the point is if you're using vegetable or canola oil, it doesn't bring out the flavor at all.
It's a lubricant. It's a lubricant. It's a lubricant. It's really, it doesn't do anything culinary wise. It doesn't take it to the next level, bring it all together and lift it into this amazing, dish because you can take something super simple. And I think for healthy cooking, the key is simplicity. Focus on steam some beautiful green beans. Take them off of the steamer, put them on a plate, a little great salt. I'm a real fan of high quality salt. Yeah. And then a little drizzle of olive oil. Beautiful. That's all you need. Your kitchen's going to smell amazing, like you're in an olive grove. And then you're just going to be so happy. And the same with broccoli. The same with sweet potatoes.
The other vegetables right there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those foods that once it's in your tool belt, you can't go back. Like it's one of those things. It
takes your cooking up up to a whole other level, right? It's like, people are like, wow, you're an amazing cook. And no, man, you start with amazing ingredients.
That's right. My wife, she said after we were married about 2 years, she's like, my cooking's really improved. Hanging out with you, you've given me great feedback. I use the word feedback loosely. Feedback on my cooking.
Yeah,
and then she's like, I was like, do you think that olive oil has anything to do? Oh no, that's what it was. It was just my olive oil.
Yeah, that's all it was. Look, I cheated on you. I was like sniffed it so many times.
Okay.
I took a small sip and I went.
You're already coughing. I love it. Okay.
Well, here,
all right, let's
I was going to say Salud Jindan, which is in Italian. It's obviously, cheers, right? And,
love it.
100 healthy 100 years is the Jindan. But anyways, this is Australian oil, so I think they would say cheers.
Yes. Well, they would. Now, this is actually made by a Sicilian Calabrian family who were immigrants to Australia. So when I enter the gates of this farm, they only speak Italian. Of course, they speak some English, but It's like I just have gone through a portal. Sit down, have a coffee. Let me make you an espresso. We got you these pastries. I'm like, I just want to see the oil. I want to know what's going on. But
in that case, salud, Jindan.
Salute. So this is in a Tuscan blend, actually. These are Tuscan varietals. So harvested very green. So you're going to get, big bitterness, big spiciness. And a lot of this goes away on food. I mean, it's there, but it's not in your face. So when you hear us talking about all these descriptors, this is uh-oh. There he is.
One that got me.
That really got you. Well, we're up to 551 now, so I gotta have.
Let it be known that over 500 somewhere, I will absolutely cough.
Yes, I love it. I gotta take a sip now too. It's just so green and bitter, like radicchio. It's got radicchio.
The bitterness is way up. I mean,
so radicchio, Belgian endive, watercress, arugula. A lot of arugula. Yeah. Like I feel like I've just been biting on some spicy arugula.
You know the thing in salad? I don't even know the name. Oh, it's endive, right?
Endive, like Belgian endive. Yes, that's it. Yes.
It's really bitter, right? I don't like it in my salad because it's so bitter, right?
Okay.
But it's like it has endive qualities to it.
It does.
So this isn't one that I would like. The other two I actually could keep sipping. I like. This is almost so bitter that for me on food would blossom the flavor.
That's right.
By itself, I'm like, oh.
Yep. And that's cool. So what I would use this one on would be like a grilled steak. Let's say you like someone who loves to grill, like where you got a char, like bistecca florentina with this on it. Oh man, or make a pesto out of this would just be incredible. I mean, it's kind of like a pesto in a bottle already. Like you can use fresh oil as a stand-in for fresh herbs if you need to.
That's the most powerful oil I've ever had.
That's
phenols and that are like just absolutely amazing. I mean, the health benefits of polyphenols, I mean, it's through the roof. I mean, it lowers blood pressure. It just shows you what it does to soften the arteries. And by the way, it's not just softening the arteries, it's softening, basically all of your elastic tissues in your body, making them more vibrant. So yes, it helps the skin, the hair, right? I mean, all of those things. So your collagens, your elastins, every bit of it. But it's an antioxidant for your cells. So it downregulates inflammation. I mean, these are the things that studies show.
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate you hitting all those important notes because I know the cellular science is so important part of your teaching, and really, using a key ingredient, something that you can just, like make very simple food, drizzle this on a little bit of good salt, and that's really all you need. Like there's not, this is like a hack. I think of this as a kitchen hack. Like you can just like,
it's a food hack. It's a biohack all in one, because the biohack is the hack that it does to your cells. Fat attracts fat. These fats go right in and around your cells, and they protect the cell from the bad. And that's my theory of saying, go to a restaurant, bring in one of these little bottles. I actually have one of these smaller bottles of your oils, and sneak that in and
I
protect
love
your
it.
cells.
I
Protect
love it.
yourself.
So do you want to give your listeners a few takeaways? Let's say they aren't able to join the club, on what they should look for and when shopping for olive oil. Just, you know,
Absolutely.
if I'm on a desert island, well, no, there would be no store there. But anyway, something along those lines. So I would look for something in the dark bottle. That's key.
Okay.
2, it has to have a harvest date, harvest season, year. You want pressing date. All those sort of things are really important. If you don't see that, not expiration date, we said harvest date. So you want to look at the back of the bottle and make sure that it's got a harvest date. For example, this one says Australian harvest season 2019. So this is, you know, gives you the season. And sometimes it'll be the actual date, you know, May, or, you know, whatever the date was for that particular selection. So dark glass, harvest date, freshness, and single estate. If you can find oils, it just gives the producer a lot more control. If you're buying a bottle, a big one that's filled with air, which causes the olive oil to die, essentially. It makes it go rancid. So buy small containers. That's another rule. Harvest date, small containers, freshness. If you see, if you see something that says it's going to expire next year on the supermarket shelf, no way, because it's probably like 2 years old already, maybe 3. So pick a store that has high turnover. Pick a store where you can taste the oil before you buy it. That's also a good idea. So you want to look for that fruitiness, the bitterness, and the spiciness. If you don't get those things, it's not fresh and high quality. And again, sometimes they'll put on a bottle like the polyphenol count. I don't do that because it changes over time. It's not a static
you said
thing.
In 6 months,
So
it's 50%.
about 6 months, exactly, 50%. So that's why we, just using Chile as a great example, we're there in the first 2 weeks of May, and in the first 2 weeks of June, about 4 weeks later, my club members have the fresh pressed oil from Chile, and it'll be the same.
What are the 4 regions? Australia,
Sure.
obviously, and then there's Chile, there's Italy, and I'm sure Italy, Spain, France are the same harvest.
There's different customs in different areas that do different things. In Spain, the harvest can last as long as March. So where it could start as early as, say, even October. Believe me, if I could send, most of my club members are probably not consuming, there's 2 sizes. There's the 250 ml size and the 500 ml size. And most families, a smaller family will use who cook at home will typically use a small bottle a month, and a larger family will go through the 500 quite easily. Probably if you lived in your house or mine, you go through them more faster than that. You get friends around the dinner table and you put this on it, like it's like, what happened to my oil? And you have to guard it, and treat it.
I pour heavy.
Yeah.
What do you expect to pay for a good bottle of olive oil? I mean, you're not going to get a good bottle of olive oil for $10. Let's face it.
No, especially if you're going high quality, low yield, which is called early harvest olive oil. So that's another thing you can look for when you're shopping, is early harvest. Okay. You can expect to pay roughly $30. And that really has a lot to do with the yield of getting it from really green fruit, and only having about 10% of oil versus the 30% that's closer to the number for commercial quality.
People accustomed to paying $10 and getting it on sale, who knows, at Costco or wherever else. That may sound like a lot, but it's a huge investment into your health. It really is.
Yes,
Nothing
it is.
means more than the oxidation inflammation of your cell membranes. And these polyphenols are a protective factor here. And so invest into your health. How much is it to be involved in? How much is it for your membership?
Sure. So it's always an introductory offer. We set it up for your folks at pompaoliveoil.com. So that's PAMPA oliveoil.com. And then that'll be there at the end. And that's for your $1 bottle. So everybody signs up there. That's starting point. And then what happens, depending on when they join, at least 3 weeks to a month later, they get their first 3-bottle shipment. So depending on, when they entered, there are 2 different sizes. They're the 250 ml size, and that is $99 a quarter. So that's $33 a month essentially, and that'll do a lot of plates of food and a lot of meals. Like I think about a bottle of wine in a restaurant.
Right.
I easily spend $30 to $50 and it's gone in one meal. Like, I'm not ordering wine all the time, but I'm just saying, like, I can improve a lot of plates of food and the healthfulness of my food with like one expense a month.
See, I look at it as a number of cells. I'm thinking how many cells
I love it. I love it.
could actually improve upon, and therefore feel better, and therefore produce more, be happier, sleep better, less pain. Oh yeah, see, my brain goes there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And then the larger set, which is double the volume, is $139 a quarter.
Okay.
So if you're a heavy user, it's always great as a gift. Around the holidays, people they love my Italian selections, and I'm working on one this year, a very special one from Greece, a charitable organization that I've been working with, who produces an amazing oil in northern Greece. So I'm working on one Greek oil and most likely 2 Italian oils is what I'm thinking of for my December shipment. But Mother Nature will dictate. She owns 51% of the company, and she will be yeah. So I'm in there with the farmers, on the ground, supervising the harvesting, supervising the milling to make sure our temperatures are really low, because you don't want to cook the oil. That's how you get more yield from the oil. You cook the olives and you extract more off flavors and aromas and all that sort of thing.
Killing all the good stuff doing that.
Exactly. So I'm there, and my producers are already amazing. And then I just retool what they do a little bit and tweak it and take it to the next level. And then so they will produce several batches, and then I'll taste the different lots and I'll be like, that's for me. That's for me. That'll blend perfectly with that one. So it's a lot of fun from my culinary.
I mean, we want you to do our homework for us. Hence the olive, the hunter, right?
That's right. That's right.
Hunter.
That's right.
But,
I often
was gonna say the olive hunter. I'm like, what am I missing? Oh, the oil.
Well, it kind of is the olive. You got to find great olives to make great oil, right? So for me, it's like, it's perfect. And for me, one important point of the fresh oil is that, these families, this is the oil that's celebrated in their local communities. This is the oil they keep for their families. They make a small amount of this oil. This is not how they pay their bills. This is a passion project for them. Wow. This is love. It's really a lot of love.
That's what we're getting in the club. That's cool, dude.
It's cool. It's really cool. And it's an adventure.
Where is our next 3? Okay, this was from Australia. Where is our next 3 bottles coming from?
Now, when will this episode air? Just so I have an idea.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Do we have an idea on that?
The only one.
Okay. Well, I assume it'll be in the next month or so. But Ashley, you have an idea for us?
Yes, I can tell you the exact date.
Because.
And while I'm looking, I just wanted to give the link for this olive oil club. It's pompaoliveoil.com. So that'll just take you to the link in order to order this great.
I have my own club. Not really. It's just
right. It's just a special link. So
be a part of my part of the club, right?
Yes.
You are. Yeah. You help us get the word out there, and that's so important. It just supports our mission. And the farm, they're the rebels in their communities. I mean, really, who else is like? Like most people have a lot of bills and a mortgage, and they want all this stuff, and they're forced to produce the lower quality stuff to get to the bulk market. I was gonna say most producers don't have access to the American market either. So I walk through their door and I'm like, I have 15,000 passionate lovers of olive oil. I want your very best. And you just see them light up like it's, birthday and Christmas all on the same day. Like it's a beautiful thing.
We're glad to be a part of it, honestly. I was just thinking, it's people ask me this question all the time. It's like the one thing they can do on a budget to really, move the needle for their family's health. And my answer is change the oils that you're eating. Honestly, I say that. Change the oils you're eating. Just make no exceptions. be a good consumer. Get rid of everything with canola oil, vegetable oil, because you go to Whole Foods, it still has it in it.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
I know.
it's like replace that. Add this. You know, you join the club, man, and it's like watch what happens to your family's health. This is like on a scale. This is a big, massive deal. People focus on the little things. We're gonna take gluten out of our diet, but they're going to non-gluten products that are loaded with crap, super sugars. I do shows on that. This is a big deal, man.
Yeah,
Your
well,
oil.
I'm really really appreciate the support. It's my life mission and my plan. And when I see people taste it, just like I did, I saw you taste fresh oil, that I handed you one of my selections, because I'm part olive oil concierge and part olive oil sommelier. So not only do I weed through the 9,000 that are out there to get the 3 for you and then rush them to your door. It's like, people say, well, what do you do? Well, I'm an olive oil taster. You could say I'm an olive oil sommelier and a concierge. Like, I get you the access to the great stuff, and then I select it and I get it to your home directly.
Now,
no middleman.
Let's have some fun here for 1 second. Hey, Marilyn.
Sure. Ooh,
Marilyn.
Don't give her the big one, please. Don't scare her. Don't scare her.
She always hears me. No, she's ignoring me. She knows what I want. I want her to come in. I want to give her a taste sample of this because I want to see her cough reaction. Here's my dog. Frendo, go get Mama. Go get her. There she is. Okay. All right. Here she is. Bring her on. Cell TV.
Oh.
Come on in. Hi. Nice to see you. How's it going?
Right here. So
I met your wife.
Right? Yes, you did, Megan. She's a great chef. Yeah, right, I love her.
Thank you so much.
Taste this one.
All right.
Ashley should be a taste of them.
Yeah. So you're looking for fruitiness, which should be green and grassy and fresh. Maybe something like
very, very fresh.
Herbal, right? Very herbal, like fresh herbs and grass. It should be bitter on the palate and also a little spicy, and you might even cough a little bit or get a pinch in your throat.
This one, and I'm used to good olive oil, so I
didn't cough with that one either. But
awesome. Okay, we're gonna dial up the polyphenols on you.
Let's give her a little apple.
Yes. Clean the palate. Clean the palate. Mm-hmm.
She came ready to taste.
That'll work. I like it. There's hardly I don't know if you guys eat much dairy at all, but things like yogurt, cottage cheese.
This is grass-fed, 100%.
Yeah, fantastic.
Slightly peppery, just slightly.
She's tough.
She's based on my palate.
She's tough.
Well, she's like, my wife was, by the way, I have to credit her. You said, can you borrow the line? It's actually her line. She discovered when she says, I have an allergy too, that's when they get serious and come back and go, well, our olive oil has some vegetable oil in it. We're out of the restaurant. But we've had restaurants like that. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, now this one.
I'm serious about my oil.
Hold on. This one has 551 polyphenol level. What does that mean, 551?
So it's actually a total polyphenol count, and that is and my members, first of all my oils are, I forgot to mention this, all my oils are independently third-party certified to be extra virgin by the best lab in Italy.
Wow.
By not only the tasting panel but also the chemical analysis. But it's a total polyphenols, or actually bipheноls. So there is, and I'm going to butcher these, but there's total polyphenols as terrasol. There's the hydra terrasol. There's terrasol. There is another one called oleoeuropean and lingostride. I don't know what that one is, but essentially the total polyphenol count is when you add all of these different plant sterols, and these are the things in the olive. And olives are very bitter. If you've ever tried one directly off the tree, Ashley, you may have done that up where you are.
Yeah.
But they're very bitter. But those are the protection of the fruit. So that bitterness is that you're tasting in the oil. You're getting all these plant sterols that are exactly what you were saying about cellular health and how it helps protect oxidative stress.
Right.
And they've really dialed in the benefits of the Mediterranean diet, not being solely the healthy olive oil fat, but the real key being the polyphenols. So they've done research studies where they take groups of people who don't consume much olive oil, let's say a group of Scandinavians, and they will put them on a low polyphenol, medium polyphenol, and a high polyphenol, the 3 different groups, and look at all their testing. And it's very impressive, the differences of the high polyphenol oil, the lower cholesterol, lower triglycerides, more healthy in general.
Plant sterols are actually mild binders as well of things like heavy metals. So, you know, one of the things that I said, we're going to start carrying our own olive oil in every restaurant. I said this, like,
and this is the perfect size.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes, like recently.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
But here's the thing: it's protecting you from a lot of the toxins in the food. You know, toxins make their way, just like bad oils, to the cell. They drive inflammation, and then you have dysfunction for over 3 months, and that's why we don't make exceptions. Yeah. But the protective factors are the plant sterols, the polyphenols, right? So it's acting completely different than eating other healthy fats. There's many different healthy fats, but none of which have these really high levels of these polyphenols.
So,
how do you feel about grapeseed oil? Are you a fan of grapeseed oil? How do you feel? I don't know so much about
oil, you know, it actually can take moderate heat. You know, so like we'll cook with almond oil, avocado oil. They take real high heat without denaturing at all.
Yep.
Yeah, ghee. You know,
ghee is great. Yep.
But you know, so those all have different benefits, but none of which in grapeseed oil, and none of which have the really super high protective factors of the polyphenols that the olive oil does. So I think you get more benefit from that than, like you said, even the fats themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I have to go make dinner.
Oh, thank you. Take some olive oil with you, please.
Wait, tell him what you're. Let's watch.
What are you making? Tell me.
He'll tell you which one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm making actually what am I making? Chicken with pesto, basil pesto.
Which oil?
Ooh, I would go with AU Life. I think I would go AU Life because it's beautiful. It'll work super well with all those things you mentioned. Just think of this as a sauce Mother Nature made for you, and you'll be.
And I have to tell you, like they're all very good. Like I can't necessarily say I like one more than another.
Yes.
Maybe it just depends on the mood you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like wine. You can have red wine with fish. There are no rules. They're not a lot of rules. So, you know, have what you like and let the food fight it out inside.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Good luck.
I think I'm getting a little buzz, man. Maybe we should end the show. I'm getting a little
your
buzz on.
Your cells are happy. They're like dancing.
We don't know what's going to come out next. You know? So
well, you know, you go in the Mediterranean and you see these people. They use olive oil for everything. They fry in olive oil, and they actually it's very stable. I can send you research studies on olive oil and frying. They in the Mediterranean, that's all they use. I mean, I
want to see that because I know certain temperatures I educate people don't go over with olive oil, but if there's a reason with a higher polyphenol oil that protects it, I want to see that, please.
Absolutely. I will more than happily share that with you. And that's not just for any oil. It is a higher polyphenol oil. And again, you can use it as a marinade if you're going to grill something like some shrimp or chicken. Marinate in olive oil. That's great, you know, before you put it on the grill. There's just a lot of culinary uses for it.
I want people to understand too. It's like, you know, I'm not afraid to go into a place and spend $40, $50 on a bottle of olive oil. But even when I do, none of them compare to these oils. You know, in 3-year club, you know, obviously I'll never do that again. Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. But so I love it. Honestly, it's like when I discovered dry farm wines, I was so excited that Todd was out there.
I love Todd. Yes, yeah, I love it.
You know, if you put these two things together, your life changes.
I know, exactly.
You know,
it's like
good wine, healthy. Come on.
Life is really good at that point. If you can manage to get both of us in your lives, you're going to be really happy. So yeah, when you join the club, there's a members only Facebook group. I just started like 2 weeks ago. I'm kind of behind on social media, but we already have about 800 members in the private group of the 15,000 club members. So there we're sharing lots of recipes, videos from the road, how to use the oil. People are sharing like their ways to use it. You know, there's always creative and interesting ways, you know, to to use the olive oil and share your opinion on which one you like best and what you like it with. So it's just a lot of fun. It's kind of like a lifestyle change. It's a lot of fun. And one thing I didn't mention about olive oil is I work with a lot of people who are into keto, paleo, that sort of diet. And the research on the satiety level of olive oil and how it helps your hunger hormones is insane. Like when you start to read how full it keeps you, a high quality olive oil will keep you full and just so satisfied deep to the core. People are using this like crazy for weight loss. And I'm like, olive oil for weight loss? Really? But I got to looking at the studies and I'm like, heck yeah, I love this.
About that. With some of the clients that I coach, I do fat, F-A-T, fast, F-A-S-T.
Love it. Love it.
And the, one of the key is that they do use different fats because they have trouble controlling their appetite. They have trouble fasting. So we do a fat fast, but many of them have said, I think the olive oil, because I have to insist on really good olive oil for it.
Of course.
But more so than the coconut, more so than the ghee, the butter, the olive oil curbs their appetite the best out of all the fats. To your point.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I'm glad you're on board and you actually have road tested the idea, because I see these studies. I'm like, that makes sense, because I'm hardly ever hungry between meals, and I'm a high user of olive oil. So it's great that you've road tested it.
I fast like 4 times a year, and I bring this fast coming up. We have 25,000 people in our group in
whoa, that's incredible. Congratulations.
Anyways, not this fast because I'm doing pure water, but the next one I'll be doing a partial fast. I'm going to try something for the first time. I'm going to do your olive oil only for the fast.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm going to do an olive oil early harvest fast.
I love
we'll bring you on the Facebook Live. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure
I love it.
Thousands of others with me on it. But because I've never done just an olive oil fat. As I said, I do the fat fast.
Yes.
I want to just do the olive oil, and I just want to see.
It'd be fun to do the markers, to do some testing of before and after a blood panel. That would be so interesting.
Really,
to see oxidative stress and all that sort of stuff at the cellular level. That would be so cool. Now, 2 of your boys are in Europe right now. Is that what I understand?
Yes, right. Well, my son Isaac is there with some of his friends, and then my son Daniel, who broke his back.
Yes, I've been following it.
They said 12 weeks without walking. He's going to Europe, and here we are 9 weeks out.
I love it. Oh, so cool. Now, will they be in Italy at all?
They matter of fact, they want me to find a job for them, like someplace that's harvesting. They're like,
okay, I can get them a job. No, I know a lot of artisanal farmers.
For a few weeks so they can stay longer.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, there's a good organization that pairs people who want to work on farms with and they stay in agriturismos, which are like farm hotels or bed and breakfast in Italy. So we'll connect offline about that, and I'll be happy to hook you up if you need it.
All right, well, TJ, it's been a lot of fun, and we'll do a Facebook Live on before this airs, so we can bring. Because I want everyone to see it. I think this is a really huge game changer for you and your family, folks. So share the video, please. And like I said, I'll do a Facebook Live before, so we can bring as many people to it as we can. TJ, you deserve it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means so much. Yeah. Thank you again, Ashley, for setting this up and for taking great care of us, making sure we were organized with our tasting cups and ready to go and looking good and sounding good. I know that's very important. So thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Pompa. Let me know if you need anything. Take care. Ciao. Ciao. Arrivederci.
All right.
Well, that's it for this week. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. This episode was brought to you by Cyto Detox. Please check it out at buycytonow.com. We'll be back next week and every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We truly appreciate your support. You can always find us at cellularhealing.tv, and please remember to spread the love by liking, subscribing, giving an iTunes review, and sharing the show with anyone you think may benefit from the information heard here. And as always, thanks for listening.